The Democratic Republic of the Congo is one of the most biodiverse and mineral-rich nations on Earth. But beneath its lush jungles and shimmering rivers lies a dark history filled with bloodshed, mystery, and unspeakable horrors. While most headlines focus on its natural wealth or political instability, the Congo harbors secrets that are far more disturbing. Secrets whispered in the shadows, feared by locals, and buried deep within its war-torn lands. From haunted forests to colonial atrocities, the Congo's past and present are riddled with stories that seem too grim to be real. Whether the result of historical trauma, tribal legends, or hidden truths, these tales continue to send shivers down the spines of those who dare to explore them. Here are 5 of the most horrifying secrets from the heart of Africa, where reality often blurs with nightmare. Proceed with caution. Number 5. The Lost City of the Zinj and Prehistoric Giants. Deep in the Congolese jungle, stories have circulated for generations about a lost city, one believed by some to be the legendary Zinj, a mysterious place once described by Arab traders centuries ago. They spoke of an advanced civilization in the interior of Africa that possessed vast wealth, strange architecture, and technology seemingly beyond its time. Though no definitive archaeological evidence has surfaced, modern-day explorers and researchers have followed clues hidden in oral traditions, ancient maps, and forgotten records. Several expeditions into the unexplored regions of the Congo Basin have vanished or returned with unsettling tales. Some claim to have seen monolithic stone structures choked by vines or heard whispers of ancient stone tools far too large for a human to wield. Could there have been a prehistoric society erased by time or conquest, or perhaps the jungle itself guards something it refuses to let us find? Adding to the mystery are persistent rumors of giant skeletal remains discovered in hidden caves or buried in riverbanks. These bones, described as far larger than any known hominid, are often dismissed as myths or misidentified animal remains, but locals insist otherwise. In certain tribal circles, elders speak of a race of giants that once ruled the land, only to vanish in a cataclysm. Theories range from misinterpreted dinosaur fossils to cryptozoological explanations involving undiscovered species. These stories are often accompanied by strict warnings to stay away from specific mountain ranges and gorges. What's particularly eerie is that explorers have been known to disappear in these very areas, leaving only shattered equipment and fragments of notes behind. While science demands evidence, the jungle keeps its silence, allowing legends to thrive in the void. Whether myth or truth, the tale of the Zinj continues to haunt those who seek to uncover what lies beneath the canopy. Number 4. The Enigma of the Kasai Mummies. In the Kasai region of central Congo, a peculiar and eerie phenomenon has baffled anthropologists and villagers alike. Mummified human remains preserved in remarkably pristine condition, often without the use of any modern techniques. These mummies aren't found in tombs or wrapped in linen like the ones in Egypt. Instead, they are hidden deep in caves or buried beneath ancient ceremonial grounds. The bodies appear to have been preserved through a blend of natural environmental conditions and tribal practices that remain largely undocumented. What makes the Kasai mummies so chilling is the expression frozen on many of the faces, grimaces, screams, or wide, staring eyes, as if they had seen something truly horrifying at the moment of death. The local belief is that these people were not merely buried. They were bound by ritual to remain watchers over their communities for eternity. Oral history suggests that secret burial societies, some of which still exist in rural parts of Congo, were tasked with preparing the dead in ways that would spiritually bind them to the land. These rites, passed down over centuries, included herbal embalming fluids, bloodletting, and ceremonies conducted at specific lunar phases. The process was said to preserve not only the body, but also the soul, trapping it in a half-conscious state, capable of witnessing events in the material world. Disturbing a mummy's resting place is believed to unleash a curse or bad omen upon the community, a belief so strong that even local authorities avoid tampering with them. The Congolese government has largely ignored these finds, and very few scientific studies have been allowed. Whether these mummies are a window into forgotten rituals or something far more sinister, they remain one of the Congo's most unsettling mysteries. Those who've studied them often speak of feeling watched, long after they've left Kasai. Number 3. The Cannibal Cults. Amidst the brutal chaos of the Congo's long civil conflicts, cannibalistic rebel groups emerged, blurring the line between warfare and horror. Groups such as the Mai militias and other splinter factions were reported by both local witnesses and international observers to have engaged in ritual cannibalism, consuming the flesh of enemies to absorb their strength or invoke supernatural protection. In some areas, organs were harvested as trophies or used in grisly initiation ceremonies. This wasn't merely an act of savagery, but was deeply embedded in a belief system that equated blood consumption with spiritual power. Fighters believed that human body parts, especially hearts, livers, and genitals, could make them bulletproof or grant them invincibility in battle. Disturbingly, some of these practices targeted civilians, accused of being witches or spies, as a way to terrorize entire communities. The United Nations and various human rights organizations documented these atrocities during investigations in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Testimonies included accounts of entire villages forced to witness ritual killings, children abducted to be consumed in symbolic feasts, and dismembered bodies left in public as a warning. What makes it even more chilling is that some of these groups wore masks, feathers, or painted symbols, blending shamanistic tradition with modern violence in a surreal nightmare of war and ritual. Despite efforts to disband such militias, remnants of these beliefs persist in some regions today. Survivors speak in hushed tones about the horrors they witnessed, often haunted by trauma and superstition. While the rest of the world saw Congo's conflict as a struggle for resources or power, on the ground, it became a brutal theater of ritualistic horror. The cannibal cults remain a horrifying reminder of how deeply belief and brutality can intertwine. Number 2. The Cursed Forest of Mayombe. The Mayombe Forest, stretching across the western Congo into Angola and Gabon, is one of the most feared places in Central Africa, not just for its natural dangers, but for its spiritual ones. Locals regard it as a place of curses, spirits, and disappearances. Known for its dense, almost impenetrable vegetation, the forest is said to be home to supernatural entities, Nkandi or hunter spirits, that stalk the living, and ancient sorcerers who never truly died. Stories abound of travelers who enter Mayombe and are never seen again, or worse, return mentally broken, unable to speak or remember what they experienced. Some describe hearing drums deep in the night, even when no humans are near, or glimpsing glowing eyes watching from the trees. The forest has become a no-go zone for many, even for armed patrols and researchers. In Bantu spiritual tradition, forests are liminal spaces, doorways between the living world and the ancestral realm. Mayombe, in particular, is believed to be heavily charged with ancestral wrath due to violent events from the past, including massacres, secret burials, and slave routes. Ceremonies are still conducted on the forest's edge, often involving animal sacrifices or ritual dancing to appease these forces. Witch doctors and traditional priests warn against entering without protection or spiritual permission. Some believe that the forest changes shape to trap the unwary, looping paths endlessly until they die from exhaustion or madness. Researchers and journalists who've dared enter often return with malfunctioning equipment and disturbing stories. Whether viewed through a spiritual lens or as a place of environmental hazard, Mayombe remains one of the most ominous and terrifying corners of the Congo. Number 1. The reign of King Leopold II, a colonial genocide. From 1885 to 1908, the Congo was not a colony in the traditional sense. It was the personal property of Belgium's King Leopold II, under the guise of the Congo Free State. What unfolded there was nothing short of a genocide, with an estimated 10 million Congolese people killed through forced labor, starvation, disease, and outright execution. Leopold's regime extracted rubber and ivory with brutal efficiency, forcing entire villages into slavery to meet European demand. If quotas weren't met, hands were severed, men, women, and even children. Soldiers from the Force Publique, the king's private army, were required to account for every bullet by returning with a severed hand. Some even cut off hands of the living to make the ammunition count seem correct. The countryside became littered with corpses and mutilated survivors. This regime of terror was initially hidden from the world, masked by propaganda about civilizing Africa. But missionaries, journalists, and activists like E.D. Morel and Roger Casement eventually exposed the horrors through photos and reports, causing an international outcry. The images of maimed children and piles of severed hands shocked the conscience of Europe and America. Though the Congo Free State was eventually handed over to the Belgian government in 1908, the scars left by Leopold's greed remain deeply embedded in the Congolese psyche. His statue may have stood tall in Brussels, but in Congo, he is remembered as a butcher. Today, much of the instability, trauma, and suspicion in the Congo can trace its roots to this horrifying legacy. It is perhaps one of the darkest and least acknowledged crimes against humanity in modern history, one that still casts a long shadow over the region. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Until next time.